here we go. Okay, so welcome to the first session. Kind of starting a little late, but I could try to get through this as fast as possible. And if you guys can't stick around after 3, then I can probably just end it there. Then I can we can just resume. You guys got the time? Okay. So I guess we can keep going until we finish this small project then. But so like, have you guys ever played the Impossible game on
No.
Yes.
Wait, I'll look up the GIF for it. This
Okay.
game. So you got like the square and like the circles and stuff. I'm trying to look for it. Let me see if there's like a video. Like, oh god, Markiplier. Well, whatever.
Hold on, let me see the time. I want to know if I was right. Yeah, early 2010s.
Yeah, early 2013s.
That's when this became really popular.
So yeah, this wasn't this was hugely popular, but you know, you just had the cube and you just die. And so yeah, basically we're just kind of gonna make a game.
When you stopped on the perfect face.
Hell yeah. So
I can't.
this is the demonstration. We kind of got the orbs moving, then we can control our cube. So we're just kind of going through this, and then we kind of got to dodge the circles, and once we hit a circle, it just brings us back to the beginning. So, very simple project that we're going to start out with right now. But it'll teach you like the basics of how Unreal Engine works, and also move this here, get to the end, and then next level. So that's kind of it. Just keep going, and you die. That's it. So we're just gonna get into that, and I'll start from the beginning actually. So first, we should well, get out of this test level. So I will create a new level. Well, first create a folder. So just call this folder, I don't know, I'll just call it like my game folder, I guess. So inside our folder, we're going to create a new level. We'll just call this level 1. And we'll go into that.
Wait, so we should set up a project right now then, right?
Yeah, you can if you want to. I can. So
you
go to games. So it'll do like new project categories. You go to games, and then you go to blank here.
Enable ray tracing.
Yeah, enable ray trace.
We're gonna ray trace these cubes and balls. Yep.
Yeah. Dude, come on. And then you're gonna go to C++. So we're gonna create a C++ project. And make sure you just have like the maximum quality and stuff.
Quality of these.
Ray tracing enabled. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. Come on, guys.
And then you should have the starter content too. Because like Unreal comes with some starter content, like basic materials and like stuff.
They give you like 2 chairs and a table.
Yeah, they give you like the 2 chairs and the table too that you can use. You have the chair moving around instead of the cube. Or something. So that's it though. And then you just create the project, and then it'll be like compiling stuff. And then once that's like set up, it's gonna open up the editor. It's basically just gonna look like this, except it's gonna have the 2 chairs thing. It looks like this.
2 chairs
like the 2 chairs and the table. So, and like the map's called minimal defaults.
I think they added a lamp now too.
Oh yeah, there's a lamp in the middle. So it's going to start like this, but how we're going to start out is that we're going to just create a new room, and it's just going to be a black space. So yeah. So all I did was that I just created the game folder, and then now we have our level that's basically empty. So since this level is just a black screen, we have to add a skybox. So we can click on, or we can type in, I think it's just BP_sky. Yeah. So when in the place actors window, you can type in BP_sky, and then there's this BP_sky sphere that Unreal comes with, and you just kind of drag and drop it, and then now you have a sky sphere. Wow, there's clouds and everything. And
Wait, what? Wait, what happened? How did we get here?
So like in the place actors, you have like the place actors window over here.
I should make a new level first though, right?
Oh yeah, make your new level. If I'm going too fast too, and like you just want to like watch as well, like just let me know, and you can, and I can
make
also
like a
go over the
in here. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
you just drop it in, and then it's like, wow, now we have like an actual sky sphere. And so this is like the basic one that Unreal comes with. Later on you can like also like make your own. They're not really that hard to make, but this is just for like an easy setup. So to the right over here where my mouse is, can you guys see my mouse by the way? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your mouse.
okay, so over here we can edit like all these values. There's just a shitload of values here, but we can just pay attention to this sun height value, and we can move this up or down, and this will actually change the
Oh, wow.
day and night cycle, which is pretty cool. They like pre-program that, so
That's cool.
you can do whatever you want. I'm just gonna do like the midday kind of cycle here, so things look clear. And that's kind of it though. Make sure to save always. And also inside of this scene, I can add a directional light. I'm going to be using this. Well, actually, this is probably the only time I'm using the place actors thing. So after editing that, I'm going to put in the directional light thing here. And that's really all we need as for lights. Oh yeah, and also I could put in a skylight as well, and that's kind of it. So, did you get that by the way? Or
Yeah, the directional light, and you put a skylight, you said?
yeah, skylight. It should just be under lights, and it's there. You have like these tabs on the
So
side.
instead of the
and click
directional
them.
light, we put in the skylight then.
Or well, we can put in both because like the directional light is basically our sun, and then the skylight is like kind of how it affects the overall scene, I guess, because if you only have a directional light, then things like shadows and stuff will be extremely harsh. But if we have a skylight, it makes them softer. That's just kind of it. But that's all we need.
Do these function in a nighttime environment?
I'm pretty sure they should.
Alright.
You just have to like if you want to get like the whole scene down with like a night environment, you'd probably have to edit like your directional light color and stuff if you want to like
Alright.
get the lighting down. But you just like change these values over here. You can also edit the intensity of the directional light too. Right now you don't really see how the directional light affects anything, but once we place objects down, you'll immediately see how the directional light affects it. So I'll do that right now. If you hold a right mouse and use WASD, you can move the camera around, and you can just move the camera with the mouse or rotate the camera with the mouse. So that's usually how I do it, if you just hold right mouse. Inside the window there. Okay, so God, I need more water. My throat is dry. So I pretty much just turn the camera up here, and we have our directional light that's still over there. So now, oh yeah, make sure to save. Now I'm going to place in a cube by going to basic up here, and then going to the cube, and then just drag and dropping that in.
Right.
And we're just gonna move the cube down a little bit.
Oh wait,
It doesn't matter.
there's what's a snap to grid?
Oh
Thing
yeah.
again?
The snap to grid up here, it basically just locks things that you place into the world. So you see like this grid in my video,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so it just locks like your objects to a grid, like to the grid basically. So if you want like precise like placements and stuff, you can just put them onto the grid like that. So that's pretty much it. And you can also like snap rotation and stuff too. I have my values set pretty low. Like I have my grid size to 10, and I have my scale size to like 0.25, and rotations to 10 degrees. So that's it. You don't really, I mean, you can toggle them on or off. It's just your preference, really. Make sure to save again. I'm like saving constantly because for some reason my Unreal has this issue where it just crashes sometimes. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Damn, rip.
Yeah. I'm still in the process of fixing it, but we'll see how that goes. It's usually kind of rare. Anyway, though, so once we place our cube, we can just scale it by making this bigger with the gizmo that it gives you. I'll just move it down so we can see our directional light and stuff still. So we're just going to try to create like a small little layout for a level. So there we go. I can place in another cube here. And I can try and create.
How'd you make the level?
I just placed in a cube actor.
Yeah, you just brought it down to the grid, I think.
Yeah, I just brought it down to like the grid. You can place it wherever you want. I'm just making it so like these two lights are visible.
Yeah.
But I just place it down, and then I just use the scale gizmo at the top here, and then you can just scale it to be bigger, and then you just create the terrain for your level, and that's kind of it. So yeah, so I'm just gonna create this level real quick here. Yeah, I'm gonna add like some walls and stuff real quick. Make this a little bigger too. Like so. And then I'm gonna add this other one too down here. And then I'm gonna rotate this to be 90 degrees here. There's just like a quick little thing, and rotate this here. So now we have
we also could have just used the plane object, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah, we could also use the plane object too for like the ground as well, but I mean, I don't know, I just used a cube. But yeah, you can use a plane too. It honestly, like, it doesn't like matter too much. It's just basic terrain. So yeah, so once we have this little area set up, we can now set up our player with blueprints. So let's do that by we can right click here, and then we can select blueprint class right here. And once we have that, it's going to be like pick a parent class. And so Unreal has like all of these different classes you can make, and we're just talking about classes, which is funny. But we don't really need to pay attention to any of them as of yet. Like when we start making games and stuff, we'll basically learn as we go. So right now we just want to make the pawn class. So we'll click on pawn, and then we'll name our new pawn class BP underscore player, like that. And then just make sure to save. So that's kind of it. Let me see if OBS is recording. Yeah, we're good. Okay. And yeah, this looks good. Okay. So now once we have our BP player, we can open it up, and then we go inside of the blueprint editor. So with the blueprint editor, this is where we're going to be setting up all our blueprints, which are here. We can flip between these tabs. We don't really need to pay attention to the construction script. We don't really need that. So I can just close that for now. So we just have our viewport, and then we have our event graph. That's kind of it. That's all we need. So what we want to do is that we want to create a mesh for our player. So how would we do that? Well, we would go to add component at the top, and then search cube. Oops. Search cube, and then click cube, and there we go. Now we have a cube as our player right here. And then I'm going to drag this actually and add it to this window here. So now we just need to place our player into the level. So once we had the cube, our preview image for our BP player will now change. So we can just literally drag and drop it into our level. Now we have the player in our level. And we can just like view it, admire it, and yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I might rotate the sky a little bit too, the lighting.
So does having the cube in the BP player, blueprint player, within the little grid there, the mesh grid, does that matter? in any case,
Within
or
this
should it be?
grid, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, yeah. Because like this grid isn't really like, it's not like the ground or anything.
Yeah.
So
All right.
the ground is determined by like the collision of the cube, so it's fine. There's no like predetermined ground inside of the blueprint. It's all good. I might actually need more water soon. Because I just ran out.
Yeah, I got myself a what's this? Oh, 1.5 liter gallon of not
Oh,
gallon,
jeez.
1.5 liter bottle of water here.
I need to. Damn, I
Damn,
need
that's
to
some
actually
water.
get some of those. Yeah, it's a lot of water. Okay, so we have our cube here, and we kind of actually want to make this cube stand out a little bit because it's like literally the same color as our terrain. So how we do this is that we would right click again, go to material, and then we'll create a new material. We'll just call this m_player. Oops, player. So you can see that I'm also using like this syntax of when declaring things. So we have our blueprint player, then we have our material player for our player. So it just makes organizing easier. So we click on it. And then once we're inside here, we can, basically this is our material editor. We have all of these nodes. We don't really need to pay attention to any of them just yet. We just need to pay attention to our base color node up here. So how do we affect the color? Well, if you hold the V key and left click, this will create a vector parameter, which is basically a color parameter here.
Wait, if you hold the V key and left click,
Yeah, hold the V key and left click.
it's
And then
not working. It's just opening up the. Oh wait, no, I'm right clicking. My bad.
yeah, so it opens up that. You can also, if you don't know the hotkeys, this is what I did for a while. You can right click, and it creates this
Yeah.
little window, and then you can just type in vector parameter, and you can create it here. You just click on it, and bam, same thing, same exact thing. So yeah, so I'm going to be using the color parameter, and then you can double click on it, and it brings up this color wheel. So we can basically color our player. So I'm just going to make our player red here. Okay. And then it should update soon. My computer's just slow. But once we have our... Actually, no, it won't update because I need to drag this in first. So once we have our color selected, we just drag this first node up here into base color. And then it should update it here. And you can just click apply and save. So that'll just take a sec for me. Because, oh, there we go. So, yep,
How do
now it's
we?
red.
Oh, drag and drop colors here to save. It's not.
What are you having trouble with? Or
Actually saving the color. Oh, there we go. I had to use the eyedropper, I guess.
oh, it's because when you're moving it here, you have to make sure to set, because I think it's on black by default down here, so you have to drag this up. Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know why they did that, but you just move it up. That's kind of it. So yeah, once you do that, you just click apply and save that.
And all you gotta do is drag that onto the.
Yep, you just drag it onto the onto our player that we just created. So actually, well, we don't drag it on, but we go into our blueprint, I'm sorry. And then we, in our basic shape material, that's the material that's currently mapped, we can click on our material here, and then click on this little arrow over here in the content browser, and then it'll just apply it onto our thing. But you can also drag and drop it here too, and it applies it as well. You see how it like makes this little square light up.
All right, content browser. I got it.
So, yep. And that's
Oh, you just
kinda...
gotta click on it and then you do the arrow. You don't have to.
Oh yeah, you can just click on
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
That too. So, yeah, once we have our thing set up, let me go back to full screen there. So we have our color set up, and it should update in here too. So now it is red. Let me move the camera here. And now we will get into programming our movement for our player. So first, with the game, we should also set up our camera, so we can view from a perspective and stuff. So if we go into the search, or actually, we do not search for this. Actually, yeah, we do. You can just type in camera, and then you can just put in the camera actor that is up here. So you just drag and drop that there, and then you now when you drag and drop this camera, it gives you the little camera actor perspective and everything. So we just move our camera up here to where we currently are, so we can view the level easy. So just do that, move that towards us. We can rotate our camera 90 degrees. I'll rotate it downward like this. Oh god, that looks very distorting. Rotate that. Oops. Did I mess up the rotation? I think I did.
Yeah, I think you skewed it to right a little bit.
My bad. Let me try again. So 90, and then we'll move that about there. I'll move it up a little bit. Move it to the side a little bit like that. There. So we can see that our camera's in. We can see the preview down here. If you want, and then, well, not if you want, but in order to make it so we kind of like automatically use this camera, we can go to the side to the right over here, and then we can go to auto activate for player, and then we just click for player 1, and that's kind of it.
What's player 0?
And click save, or not player 1, but player 0. My bad.
Oh.
Yeah, because like for some reason it just starts at player 0, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Player 0 is the default though, so we'll use player 0. It's just in case if we use like split screen or something like that. They just have these controller ports for that many players. So now we have our camera set up, and also it auto activates for the player. So when we click play, it should, it automatically uses the camera that we're currently using. And that's kind of it. So we have our scene basically set up. Now we just need to add our movement to our player. And we can add our movement by going to our player, and then to the event graph here. So we need to, one sec, just looking at the previous stuff I did for notes. Okay, so inside here, oh yeah, actually, or I'll just get into that. So if you right click, and you can type in keyboard and then like the key you want, like which is W, like WASD and stuff. However, we will not be using these at all because we want to be able to change our controls in some way, make it very flexible, and we also want to add, a bunch of like keys a lot easier. Like we don't want these separate nodes for each key in our game. Like it's gonna get very like filled super easily.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Instead of doing that, we will go to edit and then project settings. And it takes a sec for the window to open. Let me click save again just in case. So inside our project settings, we scroll down, and to the left over here, we go to input. And then I already set up the keys here, but I can actually just do it again. It's fine. So there are two things here called action mappings, and then there's also axis mappings. I wish I could zoom in, but I don't think
We can see them.
Okay, so we only really need to worry about the axis mappings. With action mappings, it's more like if you press the button and then release the button. However, since we're doing movement, we want to make it so that when we're holding the key, it's going to return that it's held. And then when we release the key, it's going to stop like returning like anything. I'm not really sure if that makes sense. Also, I guess a better way to describe it is that axis mappings return a value that you give them once the key is held and once the key is released. When action
So like,
mappings only check it like a true or false to see if it's held or not. That's it. It doesn't return anything.
so like action and axis would be more for movement because you can increment by 1 and so on, but action's
Yeah.
more for like, I'd say, combat, or if you're gonna put it in game terms, because it's just checking if A was pressed and do light punch or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for action mappings, we do like if we're attacking,
Yeah.
sword swinging, then we don't really hold the button. We just kind of swing the sword once and it's done. That's it. So, but yeah, for axis mappings, we use these for movement. So let's add 2 of these, and then we will do we will call this one move vertical, and then we will call this one move horizontal here. Okay, so let's add in our keys that we want. So for moving vertical, we let's add in 2 keys actually. So there's a plus sign next to our move vertical name, so we can add that. So we have 2 keys for each now. So we have W, so let me just look for W, and S, which is S key. Or can I just do S? Keyboard. No. S. Okay, I guess I have to search for it. Oh well.
Yeah, I was having trouble because the first one it like pops up immediately, but
And then with S,
second
it's
one,
like all these. And it
yeah.
finds, there it is. So it's keyboard S. And then with move horizontal, we can type in A. So keyboard. I think I just type in keyboard A. No, I guess not. Okay. Yeah, it's just bad. A, and then D here. There we go. So W, A, S, and D. And we want to return a different value for each key. So for S, we're going to return -1 because we're moving down. And then for horizontal, we'll treat going right as positive and going left as negative. So with our A key, we'll make this -1. And then our D key is +1. So that's kind of it. And that's basically it for movement. That's all you really need. You can also set up controller stuff too. I can always go over that later, but for now we'll just use keyboard.
Yeah, stick to WSD.
So yeah, so we have our keyboard set up, and
Is there a save button, or is it just
it
automatic?
just saves automatically. Yeah, it just saves
Alright,
automatically.
nice.
You're gonna see me instinctively click save all the time. By the way.
No, I
Just
understand that
in
my
case.
computer crashes every now and then. I think I installed a bad driver, so saving is like detrimental.
Yeah, stuff inside the editor.
How do
However,
we
I'd be looking up here and my memory wouldn't go down, and I'd just be like, "Fuck."
how do
Like,
we pull that up? Those little statistics at the top.
oh, I think you can go to what? Oh, I think
Under
it's
editor preferences. Not under wait,
not
yeah.
project settings. Oops. So frame rate. There it is, right here.
Yeah, show frame.
Memory.
Nice.
There we go. Okay, cool.
Oh. Wait, so the number beside memory is how much memory it's using?
Yes, that is how much memory it's using.
Okay, it's using
And you can also
16,000.
yeah, it's using 2000. You can also make sure here by going to Task Manager, and it basically says it's kind of inaccurate because it says 1800, but in Task Manager it says it's using 1300. So it's a little off, but
Wait,
So let me open this up again and see. Oops, I open it over here on my other screen. So we have our player, and it is currently empty. So you want to be able to make it move and whatnot. So all we really have to do is that we have to so we set up our controls, and now we can use those controls with our, wait, where is our, there we go. We can use those controls with our movement now. So since we had them return like a 1 or a -1, we can use this to our advantage. So let's right click, and then we can type in get move horizontal and get move vertical here. So we have these two nodes. These are our axis mappings, and now we can use these for our controls. So let's add in, I'll first show you like a technique for like smooth movement. However, this movement is flawed, so I'm just giving you the heads up here.
How so?
I will show you right now, actually.
All right.
So we'll right click again.
So I should just watch this one, right, for the smooth movement then?
Yeah, you can just watch for now.
All right.
So we'll do add translation, or add actor world offset here, and then we can just plug that into our tick function with movement, and we can so in our add actor world offset, all this does is that this adds a vector constantly to our game object. So we can, if we put in 1 for the x, it'll basically keep moving our object in the x direction, like one space or 1 unit. However, if we right click our delta location here, we can split these struct pins. And now each of these are float values, because beforehand, if we recombine this struct pin, it is a vector value, and we can't plug in our values from our movement into a vector. I mean, we can, but like it's just we can only do one at a time. So we want to be able to split our vertical and horizontal movement into different components of the vector. So we right click and split struct pin. And so we now have each of these, and we want to be able to move based on our keyboard input. So let me click save real quick. Let's since we're only returning a value of 1, we want to be able to modify our speed. So we'll drag this out and add. You could also do this part too, actually, with the speed and whatnot.
All right.
So we'll drag this out, and we'll put in the star symbol for multiplication, and then we'll do float times float here. So now it's going to bring up the multiplication symbol, and then it shows us like, oh wow, we're about to do some math. And then we can just drag our bottom one out, and then we'll click on promote to variable at the top here, and this creates a variable, and we'll call this new variable speed up here at the top right, and click compile and save.
Wait, how do I rename it? Because it didn't give me the option.
Oh, you can just right click it to the left here, or you can go to the top right up here and click on the variable name, and that's it.
Speed. All right.
Yeah. So once we edit that, we can edit the value of the speed variable. So we can increase it to, like, I'm just gonna say, I guess the value of like 30, or not 30. Let me do like a value of 10.
Wait, where is this?
Default value to the right here. We can edit
Please
our.
I gotta compile first. All right.
Oh yeah.
30, you said, right?
Well, just do like a speed of 10, because 30 is actually pretty fast. Speed of like 5 to 10. I'll just do 10 for now.
All right.
And you don't really have to do this next part because you didn't add this actor world offset, so you can just leave that there.
All right.
But we'll be having these speeds though. I'm actually going to copy and paste these here. So we have a speed for each of these now. And we will return our vertical movement for our Y and our horizontal for our X. Let me actually move these, so oops. Oh god. like box selecting. There we go. Okay. So we can move it like so, compile and save. And once we go into the editor, we can now, oops, sorry. I need to enable auto receive input. You should actually do this part too, is
Which
that,
part?
so we're back in our scene, and we
Yeah.
clicked on our player, and we want to enable movement for our player. So we just go to auto possess player, and then we click on player 0.
Auto possess player 0. All right.
Yep, and that's it. So, and then once we click play, we should be able to control it. Yep. See, so now we can move. We're kind of just on a grid, but we have slow movement going on. One thing we'll notice though, well, you haven't really set it up, but I'm just going to describe it.
Yeah.
Our up and down directions are in reverse, but our left and right seem to be good, but W and S are reversed. That's because that we're basically working with like this coordinate axis. Like if we click on basically every object, we can see that the rotation is the same, and that the red goes in the X direction, the Y goes in the Y direction, the green goes in the Y direction, and then the Z is the blue arrow. The blue's
and where
in
the
the Z
green is
direction.
pointing, that's positive. So that means.
Yeah. So when the green,
All
where
right.
the green is pointing, it's actually in reverse because it's pointing down.
Yeah.
So we just need to
Flip the camera.
reverse. Well, not flip the camera, but we just need to flip. We just need to flip the speed for our move vertical. So we'll do. We can just do times. We can just do times -1. So we just click add pin, and then this creates another pin, and we just put times -1. So this gets our move vertical speed times our speed variable times -1. So this just flips it, and that's it. I just
They
inputs it.
changed the bottom one to -1 too.
Yeah, you could just do that too as well. Yeah, I'll give you the proper way to do it after this one. Now I'll go over like why this. Let me actually increase the speed real quick. So why this kind of method sucks. So we have like our movement and everything like feels good, but the main problem with this is that we can clip through walls.
Oh yeah, because there's no collision. It's always gonna move you 1, right?
Yeah. So we do actually have collision like predetermined on our cube, and we have
Yeah, but
collision on everything.
the
But
way the
yeah.
code works is that it'll always move you up 1, even if there's something in front of you, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is like absolute coordinate movement. We will not be able to like basically like this doesn't care about anything in the world. It
Yeah.
doesn't care about collision. It just keeps moving you wherever you put it. So yeah, that's why we don't really use this we don't really use this function. So let's actually add the proper way, and we'll do add force. And we'll do add force we'll do the cube, why not? So we have add force cube.
Wait, do I go on this part?
What's up?
Do I follow along for this part?
Yeah, you can follow along on this part because this is the proper way to do it. Okay, so now we added our force. We have the cube. We have our movements and everything. So we can right click on the force again and do split struct pin. And this brings up our little pins that we can have. And we can drag this force into the tick function, compile and save. And we can just put our move horizontal and move vertical in the same spots. So horizontal is X and vertical is Y. And we also want to enable physics though, because since we're using forces, this basically gets in the whole like physics system of the game.
Yeah.
So on the right here, or I'm sorry.
On the cube.
Yeah, click on the cube on the left, and then on the right here, we want to simulate physics, so we enable that. you just scroll down until you see physics, and then it says simulate physics.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. So we just
Compile.
do that. And now if you go back in, you will see that when we do anything, it's not gonna do anything. Like nothing is happening at all.
Yeah.
So that's because forces work differently than like the absolute coordinate values that we were doing beforehand. Because with forces, we have things like drag, or we have things like mass and whatnot. So we need to be able to kind of manipulate our game around those things to get the best movement possible. So first off, we can edit the mass of our game object, and we can set the mass of it to, I'll just put 1. So a mass of 1 is good.
Wait,
And
what?
we should.
Where's
What's it?
mass?
It's under
Where's
physics again. It's just right under simulate physics.
Oh, mass in kilograms. Okay.
Yeah, so click on the little
And
check mark.
set the 1.
Yeah, just set that to 1, just so like we don't really have any weight affecting our affecting
Physics.
it for now. Yeah, affecting our physics. So we also want to change our speed value, and for some reason in force values, you need them to be very high because I think it's like based off of real world sort of forces and crap. So what I did in my test was that I put a value of 4,000 for our speed.
Was
And
that overkill or was like barely enough?
that was basically barely enough. And
Really?
I'll show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll actually show you right now. And so once we click save again, we click play, and you can see that our cube actually moves now. However, it kind of fumbles everywhere, but we got some movement going on.
Oh, that's cool. I like the way it moves though. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh wait, but mine's still I think mine's still inverted.
Oh yeah, you should do the make sure your coordinate axis looks exactly like mine too, like the x going this way and the y direction going this way. If it doesn't, then I can just tell you how you would set it up based on yours. Yeah. But yeah, once we play, we have our forces and stuff. However, we can see that our cube is kind of fumbling about and flying all over the fucking place. So we don't want to do that.
No, you need gravity for that, right? I'd assume.
Well, we do have gravity. It's actually the cube is actually falling onto the floor and stuff. So we actually want to go into our cube again at the top left here, and then we want to scroll down to simulate physics again. And then under that, there's something called constraints to the left here, or to the right.
Oh, we
And
could lock it down to 0 on Z.
We'll lock all of our rotations, so now we can't rotate. We don't really need to lock the position. I mean, we can lock the position if you want, but like if you want to add jumping, I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's also a thing. But it's mainly the rotation though. And when we go back in, we should, now we have like smooth movement, but it's really fucking fast. So, it's just gonna look like this. Now our cube's gonna slide everywhere. It's gonna be really fast. So we want to, we now want to configure our friction, because if you see, once we just press the key a little bit, we like slide everywhere.
Yeah.
So we don't really want that. We want to edit our friction. Let me save again. So back in the simulate physics area, we go to linear damping, and I think I did a value of like 5 was okay. I'm pretty sure I did. Let me try and see. Yeah, 5 was good. So I did like a value of like 5
For where?
linear. In linear damping for under
Linear.
physics.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's called damping, but this is basically just like friction or drag force.
Yeah, it's linear dampening. Basically, it's dampening the friction. Yeah, dampening the
speed.
The sliding. Yeah.
Yeah, it's increasing the friction, and I guess it's called dampening because it's considering things like drag in the air and like ground friction. So I guess damping is just like the general term for both of those. So I just did like a value of 5. And that seems to be a lot better with movement, so now we can move our cube around. Maybe I can try turning it down a little bit. Maybe I can try a value of 3 and see if it looks okay.
I think 2 is probably the best.
Oh yeah, 2 is pretty good too. 2 is probably good. Also, sorry if you hear my AC, it's like right above
no
me. But yeah, 2 looks good. So now we have our movement. You can also edit the speed however you want to. You can do anything. So, but yeah, this works. So now we have our movement, and yeah, that's basically it with player movement and stuff. Okay. So let's create some I guess like some small level designs for this. So we can let's create a new material actually for our walls so they stick out a little more. So let's right click and then create a new material and then just do m underscore, I guess wall works fine. And then save, and then we'll go into it. So now we have our wall created, and we're basically just gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna, create our color again. Or I'll do it the other way just so it's more clear. So right click, vector, parameter. I mean, just in case for the recording.
Yeah.
Right click, vector,
I
parameter.
thought you heard me like stumbling with the keys for a second. It's like, I'll just go the other way.
No. Yeah, I'd have like ears like a hawk or something. So we'll just do color, and then let's go here, and we'll increase we'll make it like a gray, I guess. And we'll do okay. We'll drag that there and plug this into our base color and apply and save and see how that works out. There we go. So now we have like a basic gray color, and we'll just drag it onto our walls here. You can see the little clipping there, but once we have them all the same color, you won't see it anymore. So there we go. So now we have our walls, they stick out, and now we can actually do a little bit of like level designing as well. So we can copy paste our walls, Control C, Control V,
Yeah.
and we can create some walls here. So we'll do a little thing here, move that there, copy paste, move this here. I guess that's good. And we'll move this there. We'll move this here. And there we go. We have just like a small little level that we have to like traverse now and just make sure like collision and everything works. I mean, obviously it would, but yep. So, yep. That's kind of it though with the level design. I can start making the blueprints for our start and our enemy objects that we're gonna have as well. So I can right click and I can create the new blueprint, and then this time we're actually going to use an actor blueprint class. So click on actor, and we'll do BP underscore start, I guess, and then make sure to save. So the difference between the pawn and the actor class is that with the pawn class, we were able to add our input axes actually and get input from the player. And we were also able to set our like auto possess player in here. We were able to like set that as well in here.
Yeah.
So we're able to control it basically. That's all pawns are, is that
Yeah.
they can be controlled by a player or a CPU. But actors are just objects. So if you want to add controls to an actor class, you would need to add like the components and everything
Yeah,
for
do
all
a little
that.
more work.
Yeah, do a bit more
The
work.
engine won't handle it for you.
Basically, yeah, that's kind of it. So let's go into our start and let's just kind of like model a small start position thing. So we'll make a cube. and then we will just scale it like so. Here, I'll make this a little bigger. And it's also, let's actually create a material for it too. So let's create a new material, do m_start. Go into that, create the color. I said color.
Wait,
then,
so just make it like,
I'll
just
make
make
it
a
like a
giant
green.
stick.
Yeah, I just made it like a stick, like that.
And then new material, and then, alright.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll just make it like a green. That's what I did last time in the test. So there we go. And we'll click apply, or, oh, I didn't plug it in, whoops. I'll put that in there. I'll do apply. And save. And there we go. That's kind of it. So then we just kind of get our material and plug that in there. So now we have our basic start. For this though, we actually want to disable the collision because the player is going to start inside of this, right? So we don't want the player to get stuck. So let's actually scroll down. Under physics, there's collision under here. And let's just do in collision presets, let's just do no collision. So you're going to see like this little collision presets thing here and do no collision.
And just do no collision there?
Yeah, just do no collision.
Alright.
And then we'll just drag this into here. So into our level. So now we have the start. Let's actually move our player outside of it. There. And save. But you know, you're gonna notice though, like it's obviously not going to instantly put the player inside of it. So we want to be able to make it so that when we start the level, we want the player to start inside of the stick.
Yeah.
So how we will do that is that we will go into our start, and we'll go to the event graph here with our blueprints. And then in the event begin play, we will drag this out, and then we will do set actor location here. So with the set actor location, compile save. Now it's going to ask us for a new location, and it's going to ask us for a target. So we want to set the player's location to the start. So how we'll do this is that we'll right click and type in player, and then we're going to do the get player pawn, and it's going to bring up this little node here called get player pawn at index 0. And then we're going to plug this into target. So essentially what we're doing is that since our player that we created is a pawn, right? It was a pawn class. This function here will get whatever player 1 is possessing, or whatever player 2 or player 0 is possessing right now, like playing as, it'll get that object. So this function's actually really good because we don't need a direct pointer to like our player. And like later on in game stuff, I'll get into why direct pointers to everything is bad and why you should be very vague with like referencing and whatnot. But for now, this is just a very simple project. So we just need to so we get the player pawn, put that into target. So now we're setting our actor location. So we're now setting the pawn's actor location. But yeah, so let's set our location now to our start. So we'll right click and then we'll do get actor location here. And so essentially, or I'll plug this in here. So essentially what we're doing is that with the set actor location, the target of this node is our player pawn. And then we're setting our player pawn's location to this current actor's, like the BP starts location, which is this get actor location, and that target is defaulted to self, which is the start, if that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, so now we set the so now we did that. So if we go back in, I can literally just like put the cube anywhere, and it should, yep, it pops it right back on the start right there. So now we have a start. And yeah, now that's where our player spawns in. So that works out. And I guess next session I will go over creating the creating like the basic orbs for how to do that.
The obstacles.
Yeah, it's pretty simple though. All really like the obstacles do is that, when you collide with them, it's just gonna set your location back to the start. Oh yeah, one quick thing before I stop is that I want to add in a variable here to the left. It says plus variable, so we'll add one in, and then we'll do we'll call this start location.
All right, never mind.
Oh yeah, if the game's running, you can't really add anything, and be aware if the game is running. This is also a thing in Unity. If you change any, like, you can also like change values in blueprints while the game is running. But if you change values in the blueprints, you can't, or well, it'll revert back to what it was before the game was running.
Yeah, once it ends.
Yeah, so you can't. So I just recommend like making sure the game's not running, because I remember sometimes like I'm like messing around with stats in the game, then I'm like, okay, I got like the exact right value I want for speed, and then I like click like stop playing, then I'm just like, oh shit, wait, the game was running, fuck. Like we don't really want situations like that, so we just need to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So let's see, so we have this. And, oh, this is the BP player. Okay, so since we created our variable, let's go to the right here, and then we'll go to vector right here. We'll change the variable type to a vector. So this allows us to, do location type of things. So what we want to do is that we want to drag.
Oh, you changed. Okay.
Yeah, the variable type at the top right.
Oh, okay.
And then it should bring out this little drop down, and then it's just vector.
Yeah.
So we do that. And then we, to the left here, we just drag out the start location into our blueprint. And then it's going to ask you get start location and set start location. So we want to set the start location here. And compile and save. And now we basically want to right click again and then do get actor location here. And then we're going to drag this into start location and compile and save. So essentially what I'm doing is that I'm making a variable that just stores our start location when we begin play. That's basically it. And we're going to need this, when we like start getting into like colliding with like sphere, the spheres that like put our location back to where we were and stuff. So, and it's also good to like have a variable for start location too, because we can have things like checkpoints, when we run into like an object that changes our start location, we can do so very easily by just editing this variable. So that's kind of it. But yeah, so that's kind of all the time I have for right now. I guess next week I will get into all of like the enemies and stuff, and we should finish this project by next week. And I'll also go over like the C++ implementation if we have time to. So